February 24th, 1978. A cold, quiet Friday night in Chico, California. The lights of the university gym flicker off. The air buzzes with excitement. UC Davis has just taken a win over Chico State. Outside, 5 men load into a turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego. The driver, Jack Madruga, unlocks the doors. Bill Sterling takes the passenger seat. Jackie Hewitt, Ted Wire, and Gary Mathias pile into the back. To anyone watching, it looks like just another group of buddies heading home. But this drive would end in silence. Their names: Bill Sterling, 29, Jack Madruga, 30, Jackie Hewitt, 24, Ted Wire, 32, Gary Mathias, 25. They weren't your average group of friends. Each of them lived with some kind of challenge. Ted and Jackie were labeled developmentally disabled. Jack and Bill had learning difficulties. Gary, a U.S. Army vet, was managing schizophrenia, stabilized by medication. But they functioned. They laughed. They bonded over basketball. They practiced together as the Gateway Gators, their Special Olympics team. They had routines, safe patterns, protective families. That Friday, they were buzzing with anticipation. The next day's tournament was huge. Ted told his mother not to let him oversleep. Jackie had folded his uniform and placed it by the bed. They bought snacks after the game: Hostess pies, sodas, milk. They were headed home. Or they should have been. What happened between Chico and the mountains remains one of the most haunting missing persons cases in American history, because not one of them made it back. They should have taken Highway 99 south, a straight shot home, familiar roads, city lights. But instead, the Mercury Montego veered east, toward the Sierra Nevada mountains, toward nothing. No one knows why. They drove through Oroville, then into the foothills. They passed the last gas stations, the last open stores. No one recalls seeing them past 10 p.m. Eventually, the car wound its way up a rough logging road in the Plumas National Forest, steep, icy, and completely off course, nearly 5,000 feet in elevation, 45 miles from where they were expected, remote, isolated, a place with no reason to visit in winter unless you knew it or were running from something. Days later, a Forest Service worker spotted something strange while checking the area. The Montego, parked at an odd angle, no damage, keys gone, one window cracked down. Inside were wrappers, snack debris, maps. There was fuel in the tank. The battery was still strong. When officers hot-wired it, the engine started immediately. They hadn't been stranded. Not really, just stuck in shallow snow. 5 able-bodied men could have pushed through. And yet, the car had been abandoned. No footprints, no blood, no drag marks, just silence and the mountain. Panic spread fast. In a matter of days, what started as mild concern became dread. Search crews fanned out from the Montego's location. Helicopters hovered over the forest. Dogs were brought in. Flyers went up, but nothing surfaced. The families were vocal, passionate, and utterly confused. These were not men who took detours or chased adventure. Their lives were scheduled, structured, predictable. Jack Madruga was careful with his car. He never let anyone else drive it. He hated cold weather. He would have never willingly driven into the snowy backroads. Ted Wire hated the outdoors. He once got frostbite after a short hike. He didn't even like camping. Gary Mathias was different. He had Army experience and some survival skills, but he needed daily medication. Without it, he could become disoriented. But even then, he was known for keeping the others calm. Was he the one leading them, or was he already missing before the car was left? Why didn't they turn around when the road narrowed? Why didn't they try to walk back down? Why? Nothing. For weeks, their families held out hope. One by one, those hopes began to dim. Still, one question echoed louder than the rest. Why were they there at all? The search was massive. Authorities combed the area with helicopters and snowmobiles. Volunteers trudged through knee-deep snow. Canines sniffed for trails, but the weather was brutal. Snowstorms rolled in and erased any tracks that might have existed. What few clues were left were buried under layers of white. At night, temperatures dropped well below freezing. Rescuers worked in shifts, trying to stay warm. Every day without a sign of the 5 men added pressure and fear. Local townspeople joined in. Rangers, deputies, strangers with snowshoes and flashlights, but nothing, not a shred, until June. The snow began to melt, and when it did, the forest started to give up its secrets. 20 miles from the car, in a remote service area near a deserted Forest Service trailer, came the first real discovery. A group of motorcyclists out for a ride noticed a broken window. Curiosity led them inside. What they found would change everything. Inside the trailer, the air was still, cold, heavy. The broken window had been shattered from the outside. Someone had broken in, not out. And there, under a pile of blankets, lay the body of Ted Wire. He was stretched out on a mattress, wrapped tightly in Army-issued sheets. His beard was long, his body severely emaciated. Next to him, his wallet, a gold watch that didn't belong to him, and a ring. There was no visible trauma, no violence. But the condition of his body told a grim story. He had likely survived for weeks, maybe as long as 2 months. Even more chilling, the trailer had supplies. Dozens of sea rations from a nearby storage locker, heavy clothing, books, fuel, a propane tank still full. None of it had been used. It was as if in the heart of a place that could have saved him, Ted Wire had quietly starved to death. His shoes were missing. And nearby, authorities found signs that someone else had been there too. Cans had been opened, supplies disturbed. They believed Gary Mathias was there. His shoes were found inside the trailer. But he was not. No footprints, no body, no goodbye. Just a body, and questions. Why didn't Ted light a fire? Why didn't they eat? And why didn't they leave? The discovery of Ted Wire's body opened the floodgates. Investigators expanded their search. Within days, they found more. 2 miles from the trailer, just off a dirt path, searchers found the remains of Jackie Hewitt. Scattered bones, his spine beneath a bush, bits of clothing tangled in undergrowth, his shoes, his jeans, a blanket, half buried in pine needles. Nearby, they also discovered pieces of Bill Sterling, bones gnawed by animals, partial remains, nothing whole, nothing clear. Both men appeared to have died out there, exposed, frozen, possibly disoriented, possibly waiting for help that never came. And then there was Jack Madruga. He was found closer to the road, about halfway between the Montego and the trailer. His body was more intact, but badly decomposed. He still had his car keys in his pocket, as if he never gave up hope of getting back to it, as if he meant to return. All of them, spread out over miles, in different directions, as if they'd panicked, scattered, or wandered off one by one. None of them had proper gear. None had made it far enough to find help. The evidence suggested a slow breakdown. Physically, mentally, one by one, they fell. Except Gary Mathias. His shoes had been found in the trailer, implying he was there. But he was gone. No trace of him has ever been found. Not a single confirmed sighting. No remains, no clothing, nothing. Did he go looking for help and get lost? Was he taken? Did he survive? His disappearance is the deepest wound in the story, the final missing piece. The mountain had given up 4 bodies, but one, just one, stayed hidden. 4 bodies recovered, one still missing. No eyewitnesses, no clear answers. The case of the Yuba County Five gripped the community and the country, but the more details emerged, the less sense it made. Investigators were baffled. The car had no reason to be where it was. The men were not equipped for the terrain, and the trailer, stocked with food, fuel, blankets, remained unused, except for offering shelter to one man who slowly withered away. Theories emerged, many didn't add up. Some believed the men got lost, possibly confused by Gary Mathias's mental health. Maybe he had an episode and the group followed him deeper into danger. But those who knew him said he was stable, focused, even protective of his friends. Others speculated they were fleeing something, a threat, a person, something that forced them to abandon the car and scatter. A strange man seen at a local convenience store that night, one who matched Gary's description, sparked rumors, but nothing was ever confirmed. There was a witness who claimed 5 men and a woman with a baby came into a gas station the night they disappeared, but the account was vague, unreliable, and never corroborated. There were even darker ideas. Some suspected foul play, a random act of violence, a run-in with someone dangerous. But no signs of struggle were ever found. No wounds on the bodies, no evidence of an attack. The isolation of the forest had erased everything. No footprints, no clear trails, no sequence of events, just aftermath. To this day, no one knows why they drove into the wilderness, why they didn't turn around, why they didn't use the supplies that could have saved them, why Gary vanished. There were no answers, only shadows and the silence of 5 lives slipping into the dark. The forest has a way of keeping secrets. Years passed, investigators retired, families mourned, and the questions never stopped. The case was never officially closed, but the trail went cold. There were no new tips, no breakthroughs. Gary Mathias, the only one never found, became the center of both hope and suspicion. Some believed he was the key, others feared he was the cause. But the truth is, we don't know. We may never know. Why did 5 men leave a working car in the middle of the night? Why hike up a freezing mountain in street clothes? Why make it to a trailer and not survive? Why didn't anyone go for help? Why didn't they eat? Why didn't they light a fire? Why did 4 men die slowly in silence and 1 vanish forever? There are theories, there are timelines, but none explain it all. It's a story that resists logic, a chain of decisions that make no sense. A case where every answer raises 2 more questions. Even now, decades later, the story of the Yuba County Five echoes like footsteps in the snow, fading into stillness, lost among the trees. 5 friends left a basketball game and drove into the night. Only 4 were ever found. 40 years later, we still ask, what happened in those mountains? Was it a tragic accident? A moment of confusion? Something darker? Whatever it was, it left behind one of the most chilling mysteries in American history. Do you think this was a tragic mistake or something more? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to hear more mysterious cases, subscribe for more stories like this one. If you're intrigued by unsolved mysteries and chilling cases, check out my playlist, True Crime, Murders, and Disappearances, for more unsolved cases.